Last week, I talked to you about scheduling writing into your life. Well, I definitely have an amendment to that video now that we are in the midst of a pandemic. So over the last week, a lot of things have been happening in terms of social distancing, and a lot of people are working from home to flatten the curve of coronavirus. I'm not going to go into any more detail about it because I am not an expert at anything to do with the virus, but I did want to talk a little bit about if you are working from home or if you are stuck at home with your family due to social distancing, how you can still fit writing into that schedule. In my previous writing schedules video, I didn't really talk about working from home at another job and adding writing into your schedule because I had never experienced that yet. I was working from home as a ghostwriter and a freelance writer and also working on my own books, but I have never worked a primary job from home and writing. So this is a bit new, and I thought it was very relevant now. So I have a few tips for you because I have been through so many schedules that maybe this will work for you in terms of making sure that you still get the writing done even if you are working from home, because I know working from home can be difficult to figure out in itself. So let's get started. Now, my first tip is to make sure you stick to a routine. Now, if you are someone who travels to work, say on a train or in a car, I was chatting in the comments with another author friend of mine, Laura, and we were discussing commute hours, and I thought it was such a great idea that you could sort of still stick to your schedule of how you would normally work your job, but fit writing in where you can. So she was saying that she commuted. So instead of sleeping in until right before you need to jump on your computer, maybe if you keep to your schedule and say you have to be on the road by 8 o'clock, for a 9 o'clock work hour. If you get ready, you don't necessarily have to get into your work dress unless that's necessary for your job, but you could easily go to work at 8 o'clock, meaning sit down at your computer, have everything ready, and write for the next hour. And then if you need to check in at work at 9, check in at work at 9. So still keep to your routines. Make sure you set your alarm for the normal time you would have set it and fit writing in there. Also too, as I mentioned in that other video, lunchtime can be an important place for you to add your writing. So say you're working from home at an 8-hour job, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to work those full 8 hours and then some just because you're working at home. Obviously, this all depends on your company and whoever you work for. But for me, it would be a certain amount of set hours that I would have to work. And then the in-between hours, such as commuting, as I mentioned, and lunchtime, those are allotted for those times. You don't necessarily have to work through your lunch unless your boss tells you to, but just envision your life as it would be as if you were actually going to work. So fit in those times that you're actually working and then make time for the writing in between. And this also helps too because at the end of your workday, if you're so tired of working from home all day and you need to do whatever you need to do to relax, you don't have to necessarily push writing in at the end of your workday if you're working from home, because I understand sitting in a chair all day can get pretty exhausting. And speaking of being tired, I recommend you take breaks when you can and when you need them. Now, in terms of social distancing, we're trying not to be in a crowded environment, but that doesn't mean that you can't go outside, take in some fresh air. Like today, the reason I'm filming outside is because it's so beautiful outside and I just wanted to be out. I wanted to get out of my house. I am becoming stir crazy at this point, and none of this has really started to get overwhelming yet. So I'm pretty overwhelmed, but I understand when I need a break, and that's very, very important. So find those little breaks in your day, and if you need to go outside for 10 minutes, or if you have stairs, run up and down the stairs, or if you like to work out, do yoga. There's plenty of videos out there where you can follow yoga routines or meditation routines or anything like that. Just make sure you take care of yourself during this time as well. Now, in terms of taking breaks, I know a lot of people are very anxious currently with the climate of everything everything going on. What I have been doing is I've been distancing myself from social media as much as I can, because sometimes people can create unnecessary fear and panic, and using social media as a sounding board for that can be overwhelming for someone who maybe, like myself, I don't usually broadcast how I feel on my social media. Those are usually for my author platform and things like that, not really my personal. So I find that overwhelming when I read it. So one thing that I do recommend is distancing yourself from social media. That way you'll be able to concentrate on your work that you are doing from home. And also when it's time for your writing time, you can focus on that as well. Now, if you have trouble with that and you don't necessarily need your phone for your work, you can put your phone away. You can put your phone in a different room so you're not checking it every few minutes, seeing what's going on. You could allot times during the day. Say, I'm going to set a 10-minute timer and I'm going to go on Instagram, and once that 10-minute timer is over, I'm done for the day, or I'm done for the hour, or whatever you set for yourself. A little more drastic thing, which I've done lately, is I have deleted my social media apps from my phone, all of them except Instagram, because I haven't found a nice way to add my Instagram posts on my computer. But you can delete your Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, things like that from your phone entirely, so that maybe it'll deter you a little bit from checking it when you have to go to the internet browser and log in and things like that. So I would recommend deleting your social media apps if you need to. I mean, you can always re-download them later, but this may help in terms of keeping focus and keeping your schedule. And like I mentioned in that video as well, scheduling is very important. So if you need to actually put pen to paper or virtually on, Google Calendar or an Excel spreadsheet, make sure you schedule your day. I tend to be a very visual person, so I like to see my schedule at a day glance, and most of the time at a week as well. So what I've been doing is I've been blocking out my working from home hours, and I know during those hours I am working from home, and then adding my writing in between. So my schedule hasn't changed too much yet, but I know that having kiddo home with me and my husband home with me, it can be a little bit stressful. It's a little different, and adding the fear and anxiety of this whole situation is not helpful. So focus on the things that you can focus on, and adding those breaks and getting rid of social media for a little bit may help you focus your time properly, and then give yourself the opportunity for that escape. I know that I have found my book has been a bit of an escape for me lately, and also reading has been an escape for me, and I have scheduled those times down because I want to make sure I make time for them, because at the end of the day, other things can get in the way, and you may not think your mental health is important, and you may not think your book is so important, but it is, especially because it's your passion. And I tend to think about that when I feel very overwhelmed, and I just think it would be much easier for me to just sit down and watch TV and not think about anything. But at the end of the day, when I finish a book, or when I finish a certain project, whether it's like outlining or drafting my book, I feel accomplished, and it's also giving me that distraction I need during these times. Let me know in the comments below any tips that you may have during this time that everyone has been working from home due to social distancing. How are you keeping writing in your schedule? Are you prioritizing it? Are you not? Did any of these tips help you? I'd like to chat with you in the comments below, because I could use people to sound off to at this point as well, because I understand that a lot of people are nervous about this situation, and I'd really like to chat. I am doing more videos the next few weeks because I'd like to focus myself a little more on not what's going on in my head and not what's going on around me. So I'm interested to hear back from you. So if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell next to it so you know the next time I post, and I'll see you soon.